ladies of Lotus Chat Worldwide, and we're here tonight to talk to you some more, and we're so glad that you joined us. You might be asking yourself, what is Lotus Chat Worldwide? Well, let me tell you. We, in our conversations, empower women collectively, and we provide a female perspective in topics and subjects that people want to talk about, but you may not feel you can always talk to just anyone. So you can talk to us and we'll talk to you. But before we get started tonight on breakdowns, breakups, and breakthroughs, which is exciting, I can't wait for you to hear it. I'd like to introduce all the ladies of Lotus Chat and have everyone introduce themselves. I am Laura Benson. Jen.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Lotus Chat, and I am Zian.
Hello everyone, I'm Jen.
Welcome back everyone, I'm Jazzy.
And I'm Matilda. Good to see you.
Well, as I said earlier, thank you, ladies. We have a very full topic tonight. We had a listener that made a personal request to ask us if we would talk about breakdowns, breakups, and breakthroughs. The question was, I recently went through a breakup and all of the feelings, including loneliness, are just there and it's hard to work through it. What do I do? And I think we all can relate to that with some relationship that we've had or some significant event. So we're going to try to dissect that tonight and talk about it. And we have 5 great and unique perspectives, and we are hoping that it will land for you. So the first question that I have tonight is, in breakdowns, breakups, and breakthroughs, what are some of the feelings that come up when you've experienced that shift or that experience? It's almost like a immediate thing. What are the feelings that came up for you in your instance? Jen.
It's a great question, Laura. I would have to say that immediate feelings that came up for me was just like as if I'd had my heart torn out of me. I'm going to be honest. It felt like I'd lost a part of me. And as weird as that would sound, because of course, you know, we are whole human beings, it did feel like I had lost like just someone who I could never, ever have again and or replace. And that comes when you love someone so deeply that you just feel like that is the end all be all. This is the one that I'm going to walk down the aisle with. This is the one I'm going to have my children with. I mean, I was thinking long term, and for anyone out there, I'm sure you can relate in terms of finding that person that you think is the one. I was in a very long-term relationship. It was my very first relationship where I was with this person for about 10 years almost. And we were about ready to walk down that aisle. And when everything kind of started breaking down, it came pretty, I would say, towards the end, as we were about to, you know, put down those deposits and make that happen. And we realized that all these years we had grown to be different people. I think when we started really looking into who we were after being together for so long and seeing that we wanted different things, as much as we loved each other and as much as we wanted to make it work, we saw that our direction in life was going in different ways. And I could have stayed and I could have compromised some of the things that I wanted, but I decided that I wanted to choose me. And even though it was a choice I made, moving away from that person and telling them it's over was heartbreaking. I grew up with this person. He was my first love. And I don't know, one day maybe he'll watch this, but I definitely want to say that it was an experience that I will never forget, because nobody forgets their first love. And it is something that at the time, yes, I was hurt, I was in pain, and I was trying to work through so many feelings about, you know, I spent all this time, how could we have grown apart? But I wouldn't take back that experience, because now I have this story that I could, you know, tell my future children about the first man that I did love, the first man that I was going to do XYZ with. And I'm still standing, I'm still here. And I still hold hope that I will find that type of love again, where I will find somebody who will want to walk down that altar with me. So that is what I tell all of you out there. Don't lose hope. It, might have been the biggest love story that you think of your life, but there's plenty more chapters that you're going to be writing about your love story. It's not the only one.
Yeah.
And what about you, Jazzy?
You really took me by that one because I resonate a lot with that. You didn't walk down the aisle. Congratulations, because you realize contrast before you sign the contract, girl. Because this one signed the contract, okay? So, some of the emotions and the breakdowns that I experienced was, because I ended up leaving my relationship, was that the expectations that I once had, we're all young and naive once, and I found myself realizing that I was more attached to my previous partner's, my former husband's potential more than I was really looking at what is. And I created so many compromises within that. What I discovered was feeling of resentment, guilt. I experienced shame, hurt, anger, all of the major negative emotions that I've had to work through. And it has been an absolute life changer to own that and create something new and take a stand for myself when I realize that this is not how I want to live my forever after. This is not my story. And I'm glad that he provided so much, or we both experienced contrast that weren't congruent, because now I know that I can create a new story, a new storyline, new plot, new position for myself. I know we talked earlier about this, but society really did create something when they did Disney, and Hollywood really did a really great job of saying it should look like this. And cultural upbringing was also very pressuring into what my role as a woman should be like and who I should be. And that really defies who I authentically am inside. Having to compromise and having to do this and acquiesce him and her, and that doesn't matter. What really matters is how I'm feeling. That inventory of what feels right, what feels like this is where I can live my best life joyously. And I love the breakdowns that I experienced, because it really does create a new trajectory for me. So no, that was fully loaded, but thank you for leading me into that, Miss Jen.
I love what you said, that Jazzy, how, I love the breakdowns, and that's definitely something that's not easy to reach to. And for those women who's listening to this, there are different stages of breakdowns that you go through. And I think for what Jazzy was saying, that use that as a trajectory to your life. And I think what's really awesome is once you go through that part of grieving, would be to embrace the breakdowns in your life and see what it reveals to you and what delights of life that it reveals to you. And it's definitely not easy, but it definitely takes time and it takes work, but it's definitely worth it. So my sharing for this would be some incidents in my marriage that probably lead to breakdowns, and it definitely lead to breakthroughs. And on hindsight, I'm very thankful that it happened, and it revealed to me a lot of things. And one of it, that it really shattered my idea of marriage. So I think that's really important what Jazzy said. I wasn't quite, I was very attached to how marriage should look like. And now, once that I am past the breakthrough, past the breakdown and leading to breakthrough, I recalibrate and rethink about this whole meaning of marriage. And what I'm feeling right now is definitely freedom. What about you, Laura?
Thank you, Zian. That's beautiful. So many people need to find the definition of marriage for them, and we all need to do that. For me, I had a breakup a year ago, and I can't tell you the pain and the feelings that went through that. It was pain, tears, loneliness, why, a lot of questions as to why, what happened, where. And I was so grateful at the time, because I had my son, my sister, and my friends who just circled around me and loved me and took care of me. But I started by doing the thing that many women do, and that's, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What's the matter with me? And although those are normal questions, those should be not the questions you ask. And then as I was able to work through the pain and the hurt and the grief, then it became just being able to look at what happened. And for me, it was, I had this dream of what it was going to be like. And when it didn't turn out that way, it was painful that that dream wasn't there and that person didn't love me the way I thought. And then I felt triggered by things that had happened before, and now they were happening again. So for me, it was just a process of feeling those emotions deeply and painfully. And every day it was to get up and go and move forward until someone made me laugh one day and I realized I could laugh again. Matilda, tell us about you.
Well, I was thinking, listening and reflecting as all of you were speaking, and thank you for your transparency. And the thing that comes to mind, I was reading something here on my phone about loneliness, that this author, Spanish author, said that over time, loneliness gets inside you and doesn't go away. So he is likening loneliness to being something that is an external or influenced by external factors that somehow works its way into you. And then it doesn't go away if you don't work on it and recognize it for what it is. So in listening to your stories, there was always opportunity. And I think for us as women, we have to be aware whenever we're in relationships, because we're nurturers by nature. And we want to do everything we can to make him happy, keep him happy. And sometimes we do that even forfeiting ourselves. And there's many times a breakdown within the relationship the whole time, but because we have this perception of what a relationship is supposed to look like, we can overlook the realities that are obviously there. And then they walk away one day and your heart is broken. And so then when that does happen, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to sit down quietly through the tears, through the anger, through the hate that you feel, through wanting to punch all the walls and all the pillows. And you have to be honest with yourself and say, where was the breakdown? Realizing that there's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely lovable you are. There's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes people are there for a season. They may not be there always, and that's hard. It's always hard to say goodbye, but you have to take opportunity, or you get to take the opportunity to look at that relationship and say, where were the breakdowns? And you have to be honest and say, did I contribute? Not that I am the breakdown, but did I contribute? And be honest. And then once you do that, you can move through those stages of grieving and anger and loneliness that will come from the absence of that person being in your life. And from my experience, I had taken opportunity to really look at relationships and realize that sometimes breakdowns and breakups are for the best. They're for the best. And I think with you, Jen, you mentioned that you came to a certain place where you realize, hey, we've grown apart. So that breakdown was there, realizing it, and then the breakup followed. It's harder when you're blindsided and that breakup comes and somebody just walks out of your life and you had no idea, after you've given your whole self to this person for years and years and years, and they just take your heart in their hand and walk away with it like it was nothing. That's when it's really hard. That's really, but you can overcome it. You can overcome it. So when you see a breakdown and then a break up occurs, really you find yourself nobody to go out to dinner with, nobody to go to the movies with, nobody to go out for coffee with, nobody to share my day with. What do you do? How do you navigate through those days of not having that person there?
Matilda, I like when you talk about accents, and I want to take this opportunity to share a quote from one of my favorite poets, Khalil Gibran in The Prophet. We all read that book, and he's actually said that, and ever has it been that love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. So not only presence reveals something to you, but the absence of someone reveals something to you. But I also want to put it out to the floor. What do you girls think about loneliness, and who kind of defines loneliness?
Well, and what I've shared about loneliness before, there's power in words and what you choose to embody and how you choose to look at things. So if loneliness is attributing to the fact that we don't have any friends or people or something outside of us, we just feel alone in our company. It could feel not peaceful, but I found that because I used to feel loneliness a lot throughout a lot of the trials in my relationship. And I realized that my shift was in perceiving it as solitude, because in solitude, that's where I found solutions. That's where I met my soul. That's where I connected with source. This is where I found peace, because I saw possibilities in solitude where I didn't see. I saw scarcity in loneliness. So the shift for me, because I also feel, I know this might be controversial a little bit, but depression, I feel, is also a choice, because you can choose to digress under pressure, or you can choose to create something new, create a new path. So when it comes to loneliness, there's power in words. Which one brings you more peace? Does loneliness or solitude bring you peace? And even though you might be feeling at a low vibrational state, you can't get from here to like there, you got to just do little things to be able to move a little bit closer, move the needle just a little bit to find the next piece of peace and to continue creating. I like to say, like, if life is a movie, are you a prop or an extra in someone else's movie, or are you the leading role? Are you the person who gets to choose what this person, who you are? Are you choosing actively what you get to feel, what you get to do? Are you going to be that sad person? Are you going to stay depressed? Or are you going to become a victor? Are you going to, how do you choose to overcome this trial, this obstacle? Will you be defeated? I look at myself in that way, like, who do I get to be? Because this is what's important. This is my life. It's no one else. And, whatever people or relationships that happen to me, they happen for me. So I get to become my next level by choice. So
I love that, Jazzy. You said it's by choice. And that goes back to the question I asked initially about what do you do when you don't have anyone to take you out, go out, do things. You go do it yourself. You go sit and you enjoy a book, and you take opportunity to go to the movies, and you go out to dinner with yourself. And it might seem odd initially because you're used to having someone else there, but were they really there? Or were they physically there, but not really there? And I found out something, that I can enjoy my own company better than I can anybody else's, because I get along with me. I love me. And it's all about choice. It really is. It's all about choice. Didn't say it would be easy. Didn't say you wouldn't cry your way through it. But I would rather be a crying, cussing soul on my way to being my spectacular self versus sitting in the corner and crying, as they say, over spilled milk. And I'm not making light of it. I know what it's like to feel the pain of a breakup when you really feel like that was your person. But to get on the other side of that, you just got to take one day at a time and be good to yourself. Do something good for yourself. And as you reflect, the ladies will probably get on me for saying this, but if they walked away, they couldn't handle you anyway, honey. They just came to the realization that I can't, this is too much. She's too much. If they had to go, I mean, really. What do y'all think?
Matilda, I love it.
Me too.
I think I need to record your voice so I can play it in my ear when I have those moments and be like, yep,
There
okay.
needs to be a button.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I need a button. Yes, but I thank you so much for saying that. And yes, it's about, and I want to reiterate what I think all of us are saying, in the moment of the breakup, the emotions that come from it are not something that it's not like a switch that you can turn on and off initially. And I speak from experience because no matter how many times I could say that I've been through that situation, that initial breakup, even the ones that came out of nowhere, still brought me down to a place where I questioned myself. And then, of course, I started questioning a lot of things about what was I doing in that relationship? Once you start going through the stages of grief about that relationship, you start also looking at the relationship. Why didn't it work out? Who was responsible? Was it me? Did I do something wrong? But I think what really switched it for me was when I realized that in many of those relationships, I realized that I had somewhat felt lonely anyway, where I started looking back in instances where I wasn't being respected in some cases. I wasn't being honored in the way that a woman should be honored, because of course, we honor each other in a relationship. I respect you, you respect me. That's the give and take. I started noticing these things that I was like, I kind of felt like I had these rose-colored glasses on throughout the relationship. And it wasn't until the breakup where I started really looking at it and seeing it for what it was. And I was like, you're right, Matilda. I said, maybe it was good that happened, that we broke down, because there were things that were not working, but I didn't see it until afterward. And I had friends, I had family consistently tell me, Jen, you really need to, maybe you should tell him not to say those things to you. Or Jen, maybe you need to really revisit that conversation that we just kind of heard, in the periphery. But anyways, this is just all that came to me afterward. It's going to take time working through a breakup and kind of reviewing those breakdowns that might have happened. But when you get on the other side of it, as Matilda said, you realize how amazing you are and how, sometimes things don't work out. And there's something that somebody told me, somebody special, who said that nothing is certain except change. And in that sense, those relationships that didn't work out are an example of it. And who knows what the future will bring, but getting on the other side of that will take time, and we are here for you, anyone out there who needs that support. So
yeah, I have to say this too. Maybe he was just an ass, Maybe it takes a while for that ass to come out, but the ass was there the whole time and we just didn't see it. But when the ass shows up, let the ass go.
I want to say something on that. I love that you brought that up, and I probably shouldn't be giggling about it, but it's funny. I read this thing. It was a meme, actually. It said, you can't stick a flower in an asshole and call it a vase.
Ooh, yeah. And that's okay, because then you don't need to get upset with yourself for being with the ass. It's life is trial and error. We take chances on relationships and people all of the time. You open your heart up. And see, for women, we feel like once they get the cookie, that it's a sealed deal, because there is nobody else better than me. And if I've given my most intimate self to someone, how could they possibly violate my heart when I presented to them such a treasure? That's when you start to feel guilty, and you start to feel ashamed, and you start to feel like, oh, how foolish I must have been. Girl, let that stuff go. Or guy, let it go. Let it go. Things happen in life. You just got to move on through these phases that you're experiencing now, because it's going to get better. Just keep moving.
I want to add on to that, Matilda. That was so powerful. It's so important to move on. But when you're in the beginning, it's like, how do I move on? What do I do? And people tell you, oh, you're better off without them. And, you know, they give you all the cliches and they mean well, but it doesn't take the feelings away. And what I found is to give up the resistance. What's the resistance? The resistance is that you want it to go back to the way it was. I loved what you said, Matilda. They were still an ass, but you want to go back and you want to redo it and you want to figure out what happened and how can you fix it? Give up the resistance. And what happens when you give up resistance is you surrender. Surrender doesn't mean that you're giving up on your dreams and you just lay down and die on the side of the road. Surrender means that you are giving up the resistance and you're walking day to day, building your life with the people around you that love you. And I know you probably have friends, you have family, you have people that you can call, but it's that moment to moment living in the present. And when you do that, and what I learned is by doing that, my life became so much fuller. I was so grateful for the phone call out of the blue from someone that cared about me. I was so grateful for the little things or the big things. I bought a brand new house. I mean, there's so many things that happened that I could just enjoy this moment instead of looking at what happened in the past or what was not happening in the future. Moment by moment living. And I call it surrendering. And that's where the power is, but it's also where the loneliness dissipates because your life is yours.
It's beautiful, Laura.
Absolutely. I want to also add something. I love what everyone is saying tonight. I know this topic is really big, but one thing I truly feel about breakdowns and breakthroughs is the scope for me is you got what you feel will reveal what you need to heal. So you feel it, it'll reveal what needs to come next, what gets to be healed. Because whether that's how you view someone or how you view yourself, that gets to be checked. Especially, I think when we go through that personally, we have to realize what is our personal responsibility within this. There's nothing we can change on the outside. We are now set with all these feelings. Nobody made you feel like anything. You chose to feel that way. You decided that whatever this person said is true or not. Mm-hmm. So it is so important to make sure you take personal responsibility for how you feel. And make sure you do that in a healthy way, in a way that's conducive to feeling it and healing it rather than running away and escaping and finding the next distraction, because that's not going to do nothing other than repeat the whole cycle again. You're going to attract the same thing until you learn it. So ask yourself this, whoever's listening, like if this resonates, this topic of breaking down and breakups, is where are you in a situation? Are you at cause or are you at the effect of? Are you at the cause of your life and what's happening to it and what gets to happen next? Or are you at the effect of someone else's doing? Or are you at the effect of your own emotion? Are you staring at walls or are you re-steering your life in a new direction? Because either is okay as long as you know that it is your personal responsibility to keep it pushing and push yourself forward in a positive trajectory.
Beautiful. I can hear somebody,
Yes.
but you don't understand how I'm feeling and it just happened and it's so new and I don't know. Okay. Not negating all that.
Mm-hmm.
So stay in that place or go where Jasmine just said. And just do it little by little. Little foxes, there's a saying that says the little foxes spoil the vine. Those little things can keep you crippled and keep you from bearing fruit in your life. But on the same side of that, just conquering things one little step at a time, sooner or later, you will have this beautiful grapevine that's bearing fruit and you won't even realize where it came from. So get up, look in the mirror and tell yourself you are lovable, you are beautiful, you are deserving, and believe it. Say it every day. Say it 2, 3, 4 times a day. And believe that is true because it is true. And you didn't do anything to deserve someone stepping on your heart and your emotions. Never did you deserve that. And you will overcome it. You will overcome this because you got the Lotus ladies on your side.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to add, suddenly I thought about this. There was a drawing that I did for part of the training that we did, which is a bird cage. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we are going through breakdowns, it's like we are these little birds that got released out of the bird cage. And these are prisons of your past conditioning. So how are we being released from these prisons, these mental prisons that we have? So see it from a point that it is you're free right now to do the things that you want to do at your own pace. And I think for those who are listening out there and resonating with this as well, I just want to encourage you to convert, this energy of conflict into an energy of transformation. Use this period of time to transform yourself and do the things that you want to do. I definitely, for myself, when I was going through all these breakdowns, I definitely use little by little distractions or focus, however you want to put it, but just a new focus so that you can actually put your mind somewhere else and reinvent and keep on reinventing yourself to the new you. So welcome to the new you.
We hate to say goodbye. That's why it's so difficult for us.
We don't seem to want to say goodbye.
We don't want to say goodbye. And that's because each one of you listeners, you are genuinely precious and valuable to each one of us. And so when we pour from our hearts, it is our hope that it reaches your heart and it impacts your life. And that's why when we start to bring one of these sessions to an end, it really is difficult for us to close. But who gets to do that tonight? Zian? Okay, Zian, go for it.
Yes.
Okay, so to all the women that's watching, thank you so much for spending the time to watch this episode. We have a second series. In the next episode, we will also cover part 2 of leading into breakthroughs. So for those who are listening, click subscribe to our YouTube, and also for those who are watching, click subscribe on YouTube, and those who are listening, click follow on Spotify. We welcome viewer requests. So for those of you who has any topic that you'd like us to touch upon, please email us at lotuschatworldwide@gmail.com. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you, ladies. Signing off, I am Zian.
I'm Matilda, and she did wonderful, didn't she? Yay!
I'm Jazzy. Peace out for now.
I'm Jen. Mwah.
And I'm Laura. Good night.